Good afternoon. For those of you that I haven't met, my name is Melissa Murfin, and I have the honor of serving as the Director of Curriculum and Instruction for the Department of Physician Assistant Studies. On behalf of the entire department, welcome to the Elon PA Class of 2022 White Coat Ceremony. In addition to the students who have been counting the days until today, we are pleased to welcome family, friends, faculty, and staff as we gather to celebrate this special occasion. We are honored to have our colleagues from the School of Health Sciences and our wonderful colleagues from Graduate Admissions who brought us these amazing students. As always, a special thanks to Ms. Lynn Wentz, who starts planning months in advance to make sure every moment of this day is perfect. As you can see, we have a lot of support, and we are grateful to be here celebrating this landmark day. The White Coat Ceremony marks the transition of academic medicine to one of clinical practice. It reminds us that medicine is practiced most effectively when dispensed with compassion, humility, and the gift of healing. It also reminds us of the tradition of preparing PAs for the care of patients, care of their families, and care for themselves, so that they can always be at their very best when it is most needed. Being a PA is a gift as well as a responsibility. Today is a time for our students to celebrate the accomplishment of successfully completing a very demanding year. We welcome all of you, knowing you have each played an integral role in helping make this day possible for the Elon University PA Class of 2022. I'd like to now introduce Dr. Becky Naduski, Dean of the School of Health Sciences, who joins us today to celebrate this important milestone. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Naduski.
Hello. On behalf of the School of Health Sciences, I would like to welcome you to the 2021 White Coat Ceremony. PA Class of 2022, you made it, and we are so proud of you. As you consider the path you have taken to arrive to this day and look forward to your clinical year, I ask you to pause for a moment with me in the practice of gratitude. The past 21 months have taught us a lot about ourselves and our ability to stay committed to our goals when our world and our collective futures feel uncertain. Despite the challenges of connected classrooms, COVID protocols, and finding the people behind the masks, our faculty and staff have truly gone above and beyond and stayed focused on our collective why, to prepare excellent physician assistants who are ready to make a difference in healthcare and in the lives of the patients they will serve. Please join me in sharing gratitude with your faculty and staff for their commitment and effort over the past year. And now I want you to take a moment to look behind you. I mean, literally, turn around and look at the incredible number of people who have joined us here today. These people have been behind you every step of the way, reminding you that you have what it takes and that the effort will absolutely be worth it. I'm betting that over the past year, there have been frustrating moments, moments you felt unsure, and that moment when you realize that you are exactly where you're supposed to be. Your families, friends, and loved ones have offered a solid foundation, a listening ear, and unconditional love as you adapted to your new lives as graduate students, and for that, I ask you to please share your gratitude with them. And finally, I ask you to look around you at the people you met less than 11 months ago on orientation day, at the people who joined you in one classroom on June 1st. Your classmates who have become an essential part of your life as graduate students and will continue to walk beside you as you learn and grow as physician assistants. Please share your gratitude with and for each other. I was waiting for a whoop or a holler or something. All right, I was gonna say. All right, as you embark on the greatly anticipated clinical year, I invite you to consider gratitude as a practice that can result in positive emotion, feeling more alive, sleeping better, expressing more compassion and kindness, and even creating a stronger immune system. A practice you can cultivate for yourself and share with your patients. A practice that helps you stay committed to your own why, the reason you embarked on this journey to become a PA and make a difference in the lives of others. The white coat you will receive today is a symbol that we believe in you. We believe that you have completed your didactic requirements. We believe you are ready to advance your learning and that you are ready to represent Elon University in the community and in clinical environments. We believe that you will be committed to knowing your patients by name and by story, advancing health equity with every interaction you have the privilege to be a part of. And we believe that you will be focused on excellence, providing evidence-informed interventions to enhance value and efficacy in healthcare. As your dean, I've witnessed your impact on the School of Health Sciences, on campus, and in our community. From inclusive excellence initiatives to the Open Door Clinic of Alamance County, you have already shown your commitment and incredible capacity to make a difference. And for that, I am grateful for each of you. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Mackenzie Bonner, and I am a member of the PA class of 2022. I have the pleasure of introducing our speaker, Katie Woodley. Though she may be new to a majority of those gathered here today, she is a familiar and welcome presence in our midst. Katie attended Western Carolina University for her Bachelor of Science in Emergency Medical Care, graduating in 2014. She went on to be a member of the Elon PA class of 2017 and has been an active alumni in our community since. Katie took her education one step further by completing a critical care fellowship in 2018. To this day, she practices in a medical surgical ICU outside of Charlotte, North Carolina. Though her accolades are many, Katie is so much more than that. She has led us through the nuances of neurology, pathophysiology, guided our hands through surgical prep 101, and has entertained somewhere between 1 and a million questions with great wit and patience. Katie fostered curiosity and a deep respect for what we will all soon face, caring for patients. She has worked in a system and a specialty that has been overwhelmed by the COVID-19 pandemic. She frequently volunteered to stay late, pick up double shifts, and then drive to Elon to teach us. Her candor about the experience was and still is a humbling reminder of why we're all here today. Katie is the epitome of what I hope to be, a dedicated provider, a master of her craft, and a kind person. I am grateful she's been a part of our education and has joined us here today as we embark on this next step. Without further ado, please join me in welcoming Adjunct Professor P.A. Katie Woodley.
Thank you so much, Mackenzie, for that lovely introduction. Dean Naduski, faculty, staff, friends, family, and especially to our amazing students, thank you so much for such a warm welcome. What an incredible honor it is to have been asked to speak here today with you all. As Mackenzie mentioned, I graduated for this PA program in 2017, and I can still remember the mix of emotions on this day that's not like any other. Immense relief to have the rigor of didactic year in the rearview mirror, uncertainty and fear about what's to come in clinical year, and gratitude to the faculty, friends, family, and supporters who helped you to get here. Although it's only been 6 years since I sat where you are, I've had the privilege of wearing a few different hats so far in my career. From PA student to critical care fellow to practicing in an ICU, and then having the privilege to come full circle to teach at this very program that molded me into who I am today. I feel incredibly lucky to have been able to witness the breadth of what being a physician assistant means in such a short period of time and I'm so excited for you all to have the opportunity to do the same. You made it. Years of hard work and dedication have led you to this moment long before you set foot on this campus. I hope that you are able to take some time today to let it really sink in. This is going to be the first of so many momentous occasions in your professional life. Soon you will graduate, start your first job, and truly change people's lives with the care you'll provide. But all of that starts first with the donning of this white coat. Today, you are standing on the precipice of an exhilarating and terrifying, I didn't forget that part, transition from student to provider as you step out into the clinical world. And although I can share a lot with you from my time here at Elon, what few can share is the unique challenges that will come with taking this step during a global pandemic. However, I want you to know this: you are ready. I think I am particularly qualified to make that judgment, not only as a former student of this program, but as someone who's had the privilege of being in the classroom with you all this past year. When you stop and think of the obstacles that you faced, including the mental health stressors of simply living and existing during a pandemic, what an awe-inspiring achievement it is that you've made it here today. Somehow, each of you was able to navigate all of that with a healthy dose of humor and grace along the way, and I had the best time getting to share a small part of that with you. I'll be honest, when I sat down to write this speech and looked back at my own white coat ceremony, I couldn't remember much of what the speaker said that day. Sorry if they are here today. And for many of you looking back years from now like this, it's going to be the same. With the monumental amount of knowledge you've gained in the last year, I know it may be difficult for today's words to find purchase. But if it's possible, I hope you can set aside the excitement and jitters for the next few minutes and make a little room for some wisdom and advice from someone who's been in your shoes. Although I know my opinion is a bit biased, each of you is about to embark on a career in one of the greatest professions. You are joining the ranks of nearly 200,000 medical providers practicing in dozens of unique medical specialties. When I was sitting where you are today, I could have never imagined, nor any of us, that within my first 5 years as a PA, I would find myself battling a deadly virus as a provider in an ICU. With a completely overwhelmed healthcare system full of the sickest patients any of us had ever seen, my foundation and clinical judgment was certainly put to the test. I can clearly remember the fear early last year when we received the first patient in our ICU with COVID-19. Would the PPE work? Could we lose some of our teammates? Are there enough resources to care for everyone? What at the time felt like a self-limited, mad sprint has now turned into a marathon with nearly 2 years behind us and no clear end in sight. To be honest, as the months go on, I found myself losing sight at times of the excitement and passion I had felt in those first couple of years, and I'm surrounded by a lot of others feeling the same. An understandable emotion, I think, when days turn into weeks and then months of fighting a virus for which there is no cure. But even more than that, I have drawn upon and discovered strength and perseverance that I know was fostered within these walls. Similarly, in the face of adversity here, you all have risen to the occasion and are uniquely prepared to the world because of it. Along the way, I've had the honor and privilege of practicing alongside an incredible team of nurses, physicians, other providers, and countless others. Never has the importance of physician assistants as part of that team been more apparent. According to the AAPA in 2020, 3 out of 5 PAs had participated in the care and diagnosis of COVID-19 patients. I would be willing to wager that as we near the end of 2021, that number is even higher. You are stepping out into a world that is battle-scarred and weary, but it is also a world that is waiting for you. Your knowledge, fresh perspective, energy, and drive will shape the future of healthcare as we continue to adapt and heal. Your role as a physician assistant will extend much further than the walls of the clinic or the hospital where you work. You will not only be responsible for the patients you care for, but you share the responsibility with others of caring for your community as a whole. C. Everett Koop, a former U.S. Surgeon General, once said, "Healthcare is vital to all of us some of the time, but public health is vital to all of us all of the time." The world in which we live will continue to evolve and change such that this most recent global crisis is unlikely to be our last. As a medical professional, you will have a trusted opinion and conversations with coworkers, friends, and family about these issues, and so you must use it wisely. Your voice, when used for good and for powerful change, will be unstoppable. We have all heard countless times phrases that have now become cliches, things like these unprecedented times and the new normal, but I want to challenge you to have the courage to be abnormal. You have the opportunity to be groundbreakers, shake the status quo, and show those around you that you do not have to settle simply because it is the way it has always been done. You are the harbingers of change and innovation and hope, and you are needed now more than ever. You were made for this moment, and I have seen the potential in every one of you. Now, on to that advice I said I'd share. I certainly don't have the decades of experience yet that bring about true wisdom, but as you'll soon discover, it doesn't take long to learn some valuable lessons. Here are just a few things I wish someone would have told me when I was where you are. First, you are going to make mistakes. I'm fairly certain that perfectionism is one of the unspoken prerequisites for PA school, and I know this will be a hard pill to swallow, so I thought we should just start with it and get it out of the way. There are going to be missteps, perceived failures, and blunders on the road ahead. The very nature of what we do guarantees that we cannot be faultless, and so my first piece of advice is simple. Be ready for it. Prepare yourself as best you can and arm yourself with tools and people that you can depend on. Thankfully, we get to practice in a time with limitless resources right at our fingertips. Learn what they are and how to use them. Learn how to lean on those around you and who you can turn to for help or advice, because that is all part of being a member of a team. And maybe most importantly, when mistakes do happen, do your very best to view them for what they are. An opportunity to learn and grow every time. In medicine, just as in life, those will be some of the moments that make you who you are. Secondly, you have to care for yourself before you can care for other people. In fact, this one is so important, I think it bears repeating. You have to care for yourself before you can care for other people. A quote that comes to mind is, "You cannot draw water from an empty well." As a medical provider, you cannot draw from a well of compassion, empathy, and kindness if you don't spend your time filling it first. Your first priority has to be your mental health and well-being, with everything else coming after. In full transparency, this is a piece of advice I struggle to follow myself, but that's one of the reasons I think you ought to hear it. Remind yourself of this often and try to surround yourself with people who won't let you forget. Lastly, change your definition of success. Up until this point, success has been measured with a myriad of achievements and benchmarks along the way. Get into a good college, take all the right classes, make perfect grades, sign up for extracurricular activities, volunteer opportunities, and try to juggle a job in healthcare at the same time, all to be an ideal candidate for that next big milestone, PA school. I literally had a whiteboard in my college apartment above my desk with a countdown to the GRE and just the words, "Your future," written in big, bold letters. So trust me when I say, I get it. And while you still have a few grades left to worry about in the coming months, the barometer for success is shifting. Accomplishments going forward cannot be quantified on a syllabus or measured in multiple choice questions answered correctly on an exam. You are in now for one huge, open note, essay-style exam that will last for the rest of your life. Are you a good person? Did you do everything that you could, even when things didn't go the way that you'd hoped? Are you living life with a purpose that means something to you? My good days now, when I feel the most successful, are filled with moments that I couldn't have imagined when I walked across a stage like this and accepted my white coat. Comforting a scared patient as I deliver bad news, holding the hand of a family member and guiding them through a difficult decision, or standing in the hall celebrating with a patient taking their first steps after long, grueling weeks in an ICU bed. There will be so many ups and downs along the way, but my sincerest hope for you is that you'll be kind to yourself and recognize the magnitude of what you bring to the world every day simply by being you. With that being said, congratulations. This ceremony is a testimony to your hard work, tenacity, and a day I know you will look back on with such fondness. Although I may not wear a white coat every day in my current practice, I can tell you the sense of pride and accomplishment you feel today is not one you will forget. As someone with the unique and sometimes bittersweet privilege of returning to Elon every year, I encourage you to take time amidst the stress and chaos to enjoy yourselves and the friendships you have here. In the words of Andy Bernard from The Office, I wish there was a way to know you were in the good old days before you've actually left them. I am so incredibly happy for you all and cannot wait to hear about all the amazing things you're going to do. I feel that I can speak for everyone here when I say that we are proud to know you and confident that the world will be a better place in your hands. Thank you.
I swore I was going to be okay this year. So thank you, PA Woodley. We are so proud of you, and we are so grateful that you can come back to us every year to share your talent and your skills. We have now arrived at the exciting time when each of the students will receive their white coats. We respectfully ask everyone to remain seated during this time, but do applaud loudly as each student receives their coats.
Okay. Sarah Angelina Akihari. Samantha Bauman. Anna Bills. Mackenzie Bonner. Michaela Brown. Bella Calabrese. Claire Campbell. Cassandra Chaput. Natalie Cox. Morgan Darrow. Johanna Duray. Amy Davis. Sarah Deaver. Eric Gillespie. Emily Griffith. Matthew Hansen. Benjamin Ho. Nev Jansen. Krista Johnson. Summer Lackey. Beverly Lloyd. Ryan Lall. Katie Love. Christy Jean Mattern. Michael McCann. Aaron McKenna. Mackenzie Pierce. Megan Pollock. Megan Richards. Rebecca Rising. Kendall Scott. Matthew Siegel. Courtney Stover. Neve Sutherberg. Annie Swanberg. Evan Williams. Natalie Wood. I'd like to invite Professor Polito to the stage, who will lead our white coat recipients in the PA oath.
I got to say, y'all clean up pretty nice. I'm going to ask the class of 2022 to stand, along with our PA faculty. And if we have any other PAs in the larger audience, you're welcome to stand and recite the oath along with us. And you'll read this along with me. I pledge to perform the following duties with honesty and dedication. I hold as my primary responsibility the health, safety, welfare, and dignity of all human beings. I will uphold the tenets of patient autonomy, beneficence, non-maleficence, and justice. I will recognize and promote the value of diversity. I will treat equally all persons who seek my care. I will hold in confidence the information shared in the course, Practicing Medicine. I will assess my personal capabilities and limitations, striving always to improve my medical practice. I will actively seek to expand my knowledge and skills, keeping abreast of advances in medicine. I will work with other members of the healthcare team to provide compassionate and effective care of patients. I will use my knowledge and experience to contribute to an improved community. I will respect my professional relationship with the physician. I will share and expand knowledge within the profession. These duties are pledged with sincerity and upon my honor. Let's give them one more round of applause. And you're welcome to have a seat. At this time, I'd like to invite Emily Griffith, Vice President of the class of 2022, to provide you with her remarks.
Wrong speech. This past year has been one that I find pretty hard to put into words. I asked my classmates what they would say and expected to hear descriptors like transformational, challenging, rigorous, and cultivating. What I received, whether it was the effects of finals brains or a long long year of PA school, it made me laugh. Descriptions like whirlwind, chaos, a roller coaster of emotions were just a few of the many that were used, and I have to appreciate the raw honesty and at the same time pure reality of their responses. I'm sure many of you are aware of the general demand of PA school, as we probably did not do that great of a job of hiding that from you. However, to give you some more insight into what we have done over the past 11 months, I'll give you a few numbers. We have studied for, stressed over, and made our way through 110 assessments, or celebrations of learning, as Professor Polito would call them. We have learned about the etiologies, signs and symptoms, diagnostic studies, and treatments of over 1,050 conditions. Also, thanks to Dr. Murfin, we have reviewed the indications, mechanisms of action, side effects, contraindications, metabolism, because we know that's her favorite, and drug interactions of over 900 medications. Throughout the year, we've clearly gained immeasurable knowledge. However, because of the people in this room, we have learned so much more than any book, PowerPoint, or lecture could ever teach us. We have come a long way from the room 154 and 158 split. The social distancing, while physically restricting, did not prevent us from becoming close to one another. The relationships we have developed have shaped us into the PAs that we will be, and I could not have asked for a better group to be surrounded by. To share how amazing and inspiring some of my classmates are, I asked some of them to share the impact their peers have had on them, and these were their responses. The thing I took away from this year more than any other is that each and every day, seeing the dedication and passion of my classmates inspired me to be better a better student, to be a better provider, and to be a better person. Another said, "Thank you for being honest in your struggles so I never once felt alone, knowing when to prescribe some fun, rooting for each other instead of competing, and providing some comedic relief when it was much needed." Another said, "I am so thankful for the people I have met and friends I have made in this program. Thank you for supporting me in the hardest of times, for making me laugh, and for deciphering my questions when I stutter in class. We are the future generation of whitecoats, and I am so lucky to call you my cohort." And finally, one said, "My fellow classmates and now friends have taught me a great deal about what it means to be hardworking, a listener, a leader, and a compassionate provider. We were the only ones that knew exactly what we were all going through. We understood one another. Together, we created an additional support system for one another, apart from our loved ones at home that we never knew we needed." I want to express my gratitude to each and every one of you. It's a cliche, but we genuinely could not have done this without you. To the faculty, thank you for the mental health check-ins, for inspiring us and sharing your passions and wisdom, for the late night and early morning email responses, and for molding us into the patient-centered providers that we will be. Thank you for trying to convince us that grades no longer matter as much, even though we didn't listen. Thank you for helping us to see growth and opportunity when we fell short of the expectations that we had set for ourselves. And finally, thank you for acknowledging that what we are doing is hard, and for being able to recognize when we needed to slow down and hear a little encouragement. Because of you, here we are, almost ready to start seeing some of our very first patients. The impact we will be able to make is largely in part due to you. To our partners, families, and friends, thank you for holding us all together when we couldn't anymore. Thank you for letting us vent, worry, and cry when we needed to. Thank you for providing much-needed encouragement and laughter, and for knowing when we maybe just needed a little Chick-fil-A or Dunkin' to cheer us up. Most importantly, thank you for helping to create a path so we could follow our dreams. Without you, we wouldn't be here, and I think I can speak for my entire class when I say we are so grateful to be here. Finally, to my cohort, thank you. Every day, I seem to learn something from each of you. I am constantly astounded by the knowledge that you share, the kindness that you give, and the constant encouragement that flows in the hardest of times. You are some of the strongest, most intentional people that I have ever been surrounded by, and I cannot wait to see what the future has in store for all of us. With that, I would like to welcome to the stage Evan Williams, class president.
Before I get started, I'll just say I know how supported I am at the president when I came in today and someone said, not good luck, Evan, you're going to do great with your speech, but please make sure it's fast so we can get pictures before it gets dark. So with that being said, I'll ask you guys, when did you know you were destined for a medical career? Was it some cathartic event, or was it something that crept into your psyche by slow degrees? I'm not really sure for me, but my dad remembers an event that could be a clue for me. It's a story that's now firmly a part of our family lore. I was about 4 years old, so actually before some of you were born. I'm not the oldest in the cohort, but I feel like it sometimes. And I was securely strapped into my car seat in the middle row of our minivan as the two of us were out on some errands. As was custom, my dad had an oldies radio station playing, and I was doing my best in my 4-year-old voice to sing along and tap out the rhythms on the main bolster of my car seat. My dad says the song that was playing this particular day was a smash hit by the group Question Mark and the Mysterians called 96 Tears. Apparently, it reached #1 on the Billboard chart in October of 1966. If it's not ringing a bell for any of you guys, it's not for me either. I don't remember it. But my dad recalls that on that particular day, I suddenly became very, very quiet. And when he looked at me through the rearview mirror, I was very still and had a troubled look on my face. He asked me what was wrong, and without a moment's hesitation, I responded, if I cried 96 tears, I would be dehydrated. I know enough now to know that that's probably not true, but there I was as a 4-year-old trying to give out medical diagnoses. Since I'm the last one standing between you and leaving this auditorium, or next to last, I know I've probably got about 30 more seconds of your attention. Given that you're probably going to stop listening anyway, I'll speed up the mind-numbing process by throwing out some more numbers, in addition to the ones that Emily said earlier. So 3.82, that's the average collegiate GPA of our Elon PA cohort, which is higher than both current Duke and Wake Forest PA cohorts. But it's unbecoming to brag, so we'll just leave it there. 22 different classes to prepare us for our upcoming clinical rotations. 22 classes over the span of only 11 months. 93 and 233. That's the number of shifts and hours, respectively, we've volunteered at Open Door Clinic in the last 11 months. Even when we just spent 9 hours in class, you all had the dedication and passion to take 3 hours out of your evening to help provide free health care to those in need. 86.5. That's the number of credit hours each of us will soon have after didactic year. In 12 months matriculation at Elon, we all just took like 72% of the credit hours each of us earned during our 4 years of undergraduate education. We also spent something like 1,300 hours at the Francis Center, so 1,300 hours of excruciating, thought-provoking and inspirational lectures, lessons, and yes, awkward physical assessments. That's nearly as many hours as we spent watching Netflix over the last 11 months while we told our parents we were studying. 3,535. That's the average hours of clinical experience each of us performed prior to gaining admission to this torture chamber, PA school. And lastly, 4, which is the number of people probably still paying attention to me at this point. Shout out to my family. Also, possibly the number of medical questions that they'll ask me in the next 3 hours. A warning to you all that with the holidays approaching and many family gatherings on the horizon, please be prepared to render assessments on everything from Aunt Betty's earwax buildup to Uncle Frank's toenail fungus. And you can always do what I do, which is remind them that you're not a PA yet. In all seriousness, I could not feel more honored to be a member of this highly capable cohort and to have represented you as class president. You have inspired me every day to be my best, even when I didn't feel like it. I'm certain that I will be a better PA because of your presence and influence. If those numbers didn't make it clear, we are ready. We are absolutely ready for our clinical year. Sure, we've all had our ups and downs this year, and yes, we've had lapses of memory, and we will continue to forget things, but we've built the foundational elements that will follow us and support us for the rest of our careers in medicine. Growing up, family was the single most influential part of my life. In both the good times and the bad, they were my rock. Having their support meant the world to me, and as I applied to PA school, I recognized how important it would be to find a program that allowed me to get to know all of my classmates, all of you guys. This was something that Elon espoused about its program, but wow, were my expectations surpassed. Nothing prepared me for the amazing experience I've had here getting to know all of you. It is with 100% sincerity that I look at you all today and call you my PA family. From comforting each other after the first pharmacology exam, when we all decided that medicine was not for us, to standing in solidarity when just one or two classmates, names not mentioned, hypothetically got menacing complaints from apartment management after an allegedly noisy St. Patrick's Day party. We've cheered for each other on the good days and carried each other on the bad. Only this cohort could hold a highly intellectual discussion about complex medical topics, and then hours later organize a beer Olympics challenge with trophies. Not to brag, but my team won. In full disclosure, we're all of legal drinking age. We did drink responsibly, and there were non-alcoholic options available. Plus, we all realized that dealing with alcohol issues is an important medical topic, just one for which practical exposure would be inappropriate in the classroom. So, perhaps nothing exemplifies the family environment of Elon's PA program more than the silent teacher memorial service. For those of you who don't know, we don't use the C word in anatomy lab at Elon. Instead, we have silent teachers that we truly see as our first patients as PA students. At the conclusion of anatomy lab, we celebrate with a memorial. It's a special way to thank them for their generosity that allowed us to learn more about human anatomy than we ever thought possible. Several of my amazing classmates took time out of their busy schedules to help plan this service and make it incredibly meaningful. From the reading of special memories from donor families to hearing Bev and Anna's jaw-dropping rendition of For Good and seeing that make literally everyone in the room cry, our PA family has shared some amazing and special moments together. Now, I don't know about you, but in my family there are a few implied, if not written, ground rules. So since y'all are now my PA family, with my non-existent authority as class president, I've decided to lay down just a couple of rules as we move forward. First, no matter what, we have to stay connected. It's incontrovertible that we have more ways to do that than any generation to come before us. In just a few short weeks, we're going to leave the comfort and safety of the Torturous Francis Center and travel afar for clinical rotations. It's going to be so easy to be sucked in by the vacuum that distance imposes and to lose touch. Don't let it happen. This cohort is one of the best collective resources we'll ever have as students and as practitioners. Quick shout out to Professor Polito in our master's project class. I would put us up there with any grade A evidence systematic review journal article. The second PA family ground rule is to be supportive. We're all going to have days where we don't feel like we can keep going. We've already had those. And we're certainly going to have days where we feel like we failed a patient. In those dark moments, this cohort can and should be a safety line we can all grab onto without fear of judgment. I'm counting on all of you to be there for me next year and beyond when I'm exhausted and feel like quitting. And I promise to be there for you all, supporting you in all the ways that I know how. One of my favorite moments of this year was our Special Populations Symposium. For those of you who don't know, this is an event that Professor Moore organizes every year where speakers of various backgrounds come to discuss social and economic issues affecting healthcare. One of the speakers this year was Dr. Russell Ledette, president and founder of the 13 Whitecoats Foundation. And if you're not familiar with this foundation, please ask one of us or Professor Moore after the ceremony, because it's an amazing organization. But Dr. Ledette's entire presentation was very inspirational, and a few things he said really stuck with me. One of them was, be headstrong about what you want. It will attract the people that are supposed to be around you. Speaking from experience and calling myself out too, and professors will probably attest to this as well, I know for a fact that this cohort has no problem with being headstrong, as evidenced by our healthy debates and test flip arguments over the tiniest question details. More seriously, however, this is great advice that I hope we all can take to heart. We can do so much good as PAs, but only if we exude confidence, surround ourselves with those who will make us better, and fight relentlessly alongside our patients every day. I think it's important to remember that we also have the power to be pioneers and leaders, inspiring those around us. I won't lie, we're entering the clinical world in very challenging times. There are many things wrong with healthcare in the United States, and if we're not careful, we can fall victim to maintaining the status quo as we begin our clinical journey, kind of as Katie said earlier. I challenge all of you and myself to take the lessons of didactic year with you into every patient interaction next year in clinical year. Use your excitement, your passion, your creativity to ask tough questions of the healthcare leaders and preceptors that you're working under. Don't let anyone or anything stand in your way. The only way we're going to see positive change in healthcare and health policy is if we fight for it every day. To quote Dr. Ledette again, don't ask for permission to do the things you want to do, but if you offend someone along the way, apologize. Let's be brave clinicians and PA students and advocate for the ideas and policies that healthcare needs most, even if they're not popular or they make others uncomfortable. At this point, those of you who know how much I like to talk are probably beginning to wonder if I'll ever stop, and I've seen some people look at watches, so I promise I'm almost finished. There's one final quote from Dr. Ledette that I would like to share. The people around you need to be magical. And I can definitely say that you all are that and more. The intelligence and compassion in our cohort are pervasive and transformative, and I have no doubt that each of us will change healthcare for the better. It has been an honor and a pleasure to serve you as class president. I can't wait to see how you all succeed both in clinicals next year and in all the years to come. Now let me stop before I lose my composure and truly start crying 96 tears. But if I do, I know that there are plenty of qualified folks here to start me on an IV drip for fluid resuscitation. From the bottom of my heart, I thank you all for being in my life and allowing me to become part of yours. I love all of you. Godspeed.
Thank you, Evan and Emily. You're a very tough act to follow. Congratulations to the class of 2022 for completing the first chapter of your PA education. One more round of applause. We have learned much about you during the 11 months that you have spent with us. You are a smart and talented class. You have pitched in to help each other and those in the community around you. As a class, and under the leadership of your faculty advisor, Dr. Cindy Bennett, you raised over $17,000 for the patients being served by the Open Door Clinic. When one of you has struggled, there has been a safety net of classmates around to help catch you and keep you going. Even with all of the opportunities to share your knowledge, celebration, of knowledge. Along the way, you are still having fun and smiling. You are truly a very special PA class. We know we'll hear more amazing things about you during your clinical rotations. We feel confident you will be an advocate for and make a difference in the lives of the patients for which you care and the communities in which you live. It is an exciting time to see you move on to this next step in your journey. This concludes our ceremony. In just a moment, I will ask the class of 2022 to stand and file out to the hall entryway where they will assemble for their class white coat photo. We'll ask the rest of you to remain in the room with us and share in our beverages and cookies as we wait for the class to return. Class of 2022, will you please stand and file out to the hallway while we recognize you with another round of applause?